Welcome, viewers. Now I am going to talk about Indian Railways. Transportation is the main factor on which economic progress, educational advancement, technological application, implication, everything depends. Expansion is the main requirement for growth and propagation of prosperity. And in this, transport system has a very vital role to play. In this transport system, rail is the most important and vital of all the transport systems because it is cheaper, because it can carry huge loads, huge mass, and because it has can have a good permanent connectivity, which does not get decay, not destroy, decay over time in that ratio compared to road transport. Because a road gets damaged, there is constant heat of sun that, as per law of thermodynamics, falls on the pitch, that is the black pigment, আমরা যাকে pitch বলি বাংলায়, and heats it up. As a result, there is an expansion. This expansion and later on in contraction when there is no sun, that is in the night time, at the cooling time. Expansion and contraction create certain cracks. These cracks develops and generates and remains as it is with dust inside it. With dust inside it, mud, dust inside it, the coefficient of expansion and contraction, that is the coefficient of linear expansion, is a mathematical number, which is a ratio found as per the contraction expansion due to heat and the heat in it. So in that case, that alters because dust has separate power to absorb electricity, heat, whereas the black pigment, that the pitch, has separate absorbing power, retaining power, and dissipating of heat power. Therefore, the both contraction and distraction is separate. This happens in rocks also, but in this pitch lead, that is black pigment, this happens the most, as it is not meant for such things exposure. A rock is on the surface and it is prepared in such a manner for such expansion and contraction. But pitches are mined from underground. It is a product of fossil fuel, and that it is when let like that, this creates certain problems. And when in the rain, water comes, logging happens, and it further separates. And like these cracks develop into more holes, and the whole track gets damaged. But this has been arrested due to new technology. However, one must understand that rail is very important because here also expansion what is a thing, and the what is called friction. Friction is very less and it is the very cheapest and very this thing, but it has some little limitations that it cannot go without the path. It has to travel to that station and then only goods could be taken down up like that. It has to have proper station over there. So rail is a very important matter. The first rail system was in steam engine. Water was boiled and the steam power was used to rotate the wheels of the this thing in a pulley chain system, and then that followed the whole train. Then came coal power, coal, and now there is electricity, diesel. Yes, diesel. For diesel, you do not have to have the overhead wires. The only thing is to that is you have to get it refueled at certain halting points. But the pollution in steam engine was high because dust, coal, this thing over the air polluted the air. The problem with engine, the diesel engine, is that they are higher in cost in operation and maintenance and things like that compared with the electricity. Therefore, although drawing overhead wires, it is cheaper in electricity and more cleaner and for a better and safer future. But rail is such an important thing that is the it is a bless to India that British had developed the railway system, because without that proper good transfer, proper trade could not be done. So railway is a boost, as a place. After railway came into operation, there had been many accidents due to signaling effect. That was taken very care of by almost automatic signalization and etc. I am not to go into depth over here. I don't know whether there is threat into security in this aspect. আমি আমার দাদুর কাছ থেকে কিছু শুনেছিলাম। তো দাদু যেটা বলেছিলেন, what he said was that railway is a basic backbone or transportation in India. I mean, if we are talking about India only. So, not only passenger goods, freights, that is for business, these things goes on to the rail, and that such kind of important transportation should never be privatized under whatever circumstances. That was his view, which may change now or later. I'm not going to any arrogancy or debate. But what he said was that whenever this mass communication is there, like rail, he's talking about rail. Rail, metro rail, at the time I didn't have any concept, although it was sanctioned or whatever. But we had little very talks over that, or I may be forgotten. What he said was, railway passengers travel, and for railway safety and security there is a force, RPF, Railway Protection Force. That force in India is very strong and effective in the manner that illegal happening in the transportation process is stopped by the railway police. There are vendors that transfer goods, ছাকায় করে পেয়াদা নিয়ে যায় এবার, but under that, for bad transfers like নেশার কিছু নিয়ে গেল, এ গেল সে গেল, that is almost not there in, almost not that. And if or ever happens, then only it can be and stopped. This is the force, railway force is meant for protection purpose, protection of railway property, railway and also people. There are very fewest number of snatches, pickpocketings in railway system, and bad things such as women harassment or whatever are almost not there. And if sometimes may have happened, it is taken very care of so that it is not recurring. So railway coaches lie in the courtyards or whatever they say, but illegal matters etc. are not that much into as reported and almost arrested and no more therefore. But when the railway will be privatized, suppose I just learned that it will be privatized. When the railway will be privatized, the problem of the security will crop up. As a result, what will happen is that there will be transportation of smuggled goods, etc., as you can understand. There may be bad things done in the trains that are kept in the car sheds. Understand what I'm saying? So therefore, proper vigilation is required as it is now, and hence railway could not be given in the hands of the privatization. Railway is a place where lots of employment can be given, but not at present, but it is the most employment giving sector in the government sectors of the whole, concerning India. And that labor type of employment can be given, that is unskilled employment can be given. So therefore, railway cannot be, as per my opinion, privatized, because in a private situation, the motive of the owner is to acquire more position of wealth. So if railway is privatized, it means that they will try to get the things done at a lower rate, which will lead to dissatisfaction, imbalance, and imparity of payment versus work received, payment done given versus work received. That is the salary versus work. Therefore, there can be, there may be, should not be, maybe labor unrest, labor problem, which can lead to no work, strike, and therefore transportation can get hampered. And when transportation can get hampered, it may have that produced goods cannot be delivered, transported. As a result, the buyer cannot acquire the goods, and the whole contract is lost. Not only the goods are lost, this is lost, and loss, cumulative loss. So railway labor trouble cannot make be happening to stop or affect the railway service. Therefore, railway cannot be allowed to be privatized on this ground. The next round of non-privatization of rail is to that. If laborers come and go, then there is a problem. There will be a problem of internal security of the rail, which is very important and vital. If employees come and go, in case because they can get proper opportunity like that, so that is the problem that will be created. Railway service, I think, has a separate stream of education for that, separate training for that. So railways cannot be privatized on this ground because of internal security, just like police force cannot be privatized. But then, how much should the government spend on railways? And what will be the profit earning? Because whenever prices are required to be raised, as for the fares, people just jump in politics and say no. But that cannot be. A rail cannot never run on subsidy. It has to have some profit earning. But whenever profit is there, there are certain accidents, and railway has to pay huge losses. But when there is no profit, there are no accidents. I mean, almost accidents may not and should not be. Therefore, this problem does not occur. Hence, the matter is that the accumulated profit is given, such happens. It says such happens due to bad luck or whatever, that the profit cannot be carried over every year after year. It is spent to meet the accidents. It is spent to this. It is spent to this, and the no profit, no loss matter is there. So there is a game going on, invisible game going on. I think so. I don't know the truth. There is an invisible game going on that tries to take away so that no profit is accumulated in the hands, and it is not a profit earning sector. This happened in the electricity board also, and it could not progress the proper quality of electricity. But that was managed. I mean, in Bengal, our left-front government, mainly Jyoti Basu was very meticulous about the matter, that electricity growth has to be there. And over course of time, he pursued and implemented that before his retirement time. But there are hookings that are separate issue. So, to eat away the profit so that it cannot be accumulated and used in further is the work of a particular invisible gang. This gang is nothing but in Naxalite. In Bengal, it is Naxalite. All over India, it is RSS. In whatever understanding, whatever treatment. That RSS that killed Gandhiji. And that RSS, which has quite a good hold over BJP. So there are certain things that people do not know of. The problem is in this railway system particularly, and the electricity system in India has been almost solved, because electricity is not that there is no voltage, there is no connection, etc. Costs are high, but it is affordable, it is implementable. That is quite solved. But railway problem is not solved and never can be solved also, because there is an ego clash. See, whenever I say straightforward words. I have no intention or no personal gain in it. If railway is privatized, then I may be the most what person to get the benefits, but it is not by putting him or her or this or that person and getting advantage through them. But I'm not doing that. The point is that there is an ego clash. Rather, not an ego clash, a patriotism clash between two segments in the Indian people. There's a two school of thought. One says that it is the British in which railway was invented and they have contributed. So accepting it in the governmental work is accepting British invention, be it electricity, be it here. So therefore, we should not rather accept it. And they're like to go on type it. Oh, British the China, shoot picture. Others says that what can be done? This has developed by British, this has developed by African, this is by American, this is by Muslim, this is by Hindu. What does got to do? We are given the railway, we have to see for our progress. That is the main thing. These people, these Naxalites people, who show themselves to be very patriot, are the most dishonest and the more treacherous and treacherous. এরা হচ্ছে মিছরির ছুরি। এরা দেখায় দেশের জন্য একবারে ছটপট করে আপাক করছে, ভেতরে ধান্দাবাজি অনেক কিছু করছে। Actually, British supporting some businessmen, some countries, maybe United Nations also, are trying to take away rail from the hand of the government so that it can be seen that railway is almost worthless and only road transport is there. The motto of this United Nations or this question, I'm not naming properly because I have to then prove, and no one is going to give the seal and signature, even though it may be true. Their power is that we have created railway, for that India is progressing, right? So we are going to destroy railway. Now you create it yourself. Let me see how much guts you have. But my point is that it is you who invaded us. It is you who stayed here. It is for your benefit you done this. This thing. Three things are main gifts from at the time of British era. One is railway. First one. Second is to some extent is press, that is printed media for newspaper and etc. And third is electricity. So these are the three gifts of that. The boons, Ashirvad. First is railway. The railway was very important at that time, and British spent huge money in giving that railway, and in turn looted India in many aspects. So it is that you came here and did the job. We are not blaming you for our segmentization. We are not blaming you for this problem. Now, after religion mattered, as I said, of Padmavati, etc., that United Nations stepping in and Mamata Banerjee this thing. Now comes the railway. See, just before election, I'm getting very specific. Just before election, when all matters, nothing can be done. Now, BJP is creating a situation that I am going to hand over the rail, privatize the rail. And then just now I heard that on 7th July, there will be a protest in the railway, this thing that privatization manchina, so that people can jump in. I mean, in Bengal, I'm saying, TMC can motivate, railway amra jete debo na, railway amra jete debo na. Ultimately, nothing will happen. No one can transfer rail or with that ease. And if done, that will be very bad for the political agenda in the future course of time. In no state in India will accept, it will not allow privatization of railway, like privatization of army, privatization of police force, privatization of investigating agency like CBI is impossible. and can never happen. And similarly, rail cannot be privatized. But certain services can be privatized. But not the railway system can be privatized. There will be no department of railway, it is only privatized. That is not possible. And if possible, then I have to understand that another type of purchasing of নীল চাষি নীল চাষিদের যা হয়েছিল, তারপর চাষ নিয়ে চলে যেত, এই নিয়ে যেত, so that is going to happen. So this is the understanding between BJP in the center and Mamata Banerjee as TMC in the West Bengal. That's see. Now you say I privatize, I will just raise the voice, and so that people forget everything and jump in, and then left has to jump and this has to jump. Everybody will jump in and say, no, railway privatization hote debo na, so that I can get the topmost publicity. And if I stay in Bengal, then you will be most beneficially. So please raise the issue of privatization of rail. But whenever rail is privatized, you must to understand that so much fund required to acquire the whole system of railway can be done only by highest level of richness. And if privatized, then security matters are there. So this can never be privatized. But airlines are privatized. You see, when it is a transportation between countries, but no country holds airline as the government works. It has department, but not the government works. Because people over there have passport, visa, there is Interpol, everything. There is a checking man. Now you go out, whatever you do. So once you leave the country, the security aspect does not that much vest. It is seen that you're authentic and genuine and proper to leave the country or enter the country, and that's it. But in a rail between states, this cannot be done. So West Bengal will be owned by Mr. X and Bihar by Mrs. Y and this by Z, and there will be no cooperation. And this cannot happen. This is not feasible. This is not practical. This is not possible. And if anybody tries to do this, then there will be a chaos, and India will just get ruined, not ruined, but crushed and ruined. It can never raise his neck to even try to stand up. No country in the world has railway system privatized. Every country has airway system privatized. Ship is not privatized by any company excepting freight ships. But in case of boarding ships, that are not privatized. Ship industry, I mean to say that docks are etc. under vigilance of the government. But ship industry is not that much important for any government. But can you tell me in the whole world any government have privatized Indian railways, that is on surface track or below surface track? Track on surface or track below surface? Sorry, track on surface or track below surface? Two are there. Tube rails are called track below surface, and these are called track on surface. So track on surface and track below surface are never, these are terms, are never ever had been and could be privatized. So this is nothing but a political agenda. So TMC, please stay there since we have nobody else. Now if left front crops up, we will get submerged. But BJP sir, Piyush Goyal sir, I'm respecting you authority. I should ask you that, request you that I couldn't go there, but I couldn't have any VC with you also, which is very required nowadays, because today people traveling here and there for this or it's costly, and staying over there is very costly, and I'm paying out of my own funds, and I cannot afford that much because I'm going to start a family. So that's the problem. So please, in case if you can come to any video conference, that will be very helpful for the country. So this is my humble request to you, sir. The point is that railway can never be privatized and should never be privatized. So these type of Naxalite thoughts, in whatever name, is nothing but a trickery for crushing and ruining whole Indian transportation system forever, the whole lifetime. Therefore, I plead to the railway department staffs and also the railway government, the Ministry of Railways, to see that railway is not privatized. Some portions may be privatized, like IRCTC or things like that. Maybe, may not be. I'm not going into depth, but railway can never be privatized. We cannot afford to ruin the main infrastructure, transportation infrastructure, whatever it may be, whatever it may not be. But railway can never be privatized, and proper invigilation is required. That why cannot it accumulate profit? You see the past data. Whenever the rail just started to see that there is some, this thing, what do you call it, profit accumulated to be carried forward, then only something problem happened. Here there was an accident, here there was an accident, there was the outbreak, and therefore the so many people injured, and rail is going to pay 2 lakhs to each, and there were numerals, and all profit got eaten up. Actually there were 100 people or 200 people or just 20 people. That is a question. It can be solved like that. You can see the dead body of 20 people. That does not mean that others were who were hurt over there were more 80 number. It may be shown to be 100 also. It may be 60 and shown 100. But since, because in long run trains you have the counting that not more than this can be accumulated in the passenger, these things are not there. But these problems of eating up the profit and which cannot be carried forward to the next financial year, like this. After this, there are no more incidents that much to be reported for which government has to pay off. Then the problem that arises in that is that purchasing of back technology in present technology. I don't know the details, but I have heard that biodiesel engines were purchased at the time when it was almost decided that no more diesels will be run on track. Diesel engines will be allowed on track. After that, the order came and this payment was already made. I don't know whether it can be manufactured or delivered or not. But this was what I heard. Yeah, I don't know what is the, it is a rumor or a humor or whatever, whether it is true or false. Things go on the way like that. So the focus of railway ministry would not only be to earn profit, but to see that why profit earned cannot be retained and carried forward. This is the main thing that the railway minister has to focus and implement. That if I earn 10 rupees in a year, I have to see that it is retained as 10 rupees and there is no payout from that 10 rupees. And if there is payout from 10 rupees on grounds of extraordinary or uncontrollable situations and circumstances, it is to be seen what the circumstance. If there is an earthquake, then nothing can be done. If there is umpan, nothing can be done. But without that, say we have the profit, so we are going to try to go to diesel, biodiesel, yes, biodiesel, this thing, and that it is problem. That these things cannot be done. Then I heard that there is the toilets of the train, কি বলে, bogies, কামরার যে toilet গুলো থাকে, that is going to be made up in such that the waste does not fall off, it is accumulated and thrown away. Now if this thing, there are certain trains like that which are double decker, that is, you can sit here, you can go stand up, but the main point was that they are more wider. As a result, they cannot get in every platform because all platforms are more shrinking inside for ability of getting up and down, and this gets run by track, this thing ঘষা খেয়ে যায়, friction through the platforms. So why had been prepared? One or two, why had been prepared? This is a query investigation that the Minister of Rail has to put. Why have you prepared such things which is not applicable and then withdraw? What is the reason of funding for this idea being implemented? The whole research process, the whole development process, testing process. I raise an investigation and found guilty, you will be penalized and punished, so that no one has the courage to do. This is what the rail minister is to look into. Privatization will ruin the whole India itself. Backbone of the India will get destroyed. Please don't never privatize anything. Any little bit of services here and then, that I am not talking of. That is a separate issue. But main privatization, please do not go. And so this is not the time for privatization. If you have privatization in mind, be it done after the this next year. this financial year, that is to March 2021. Let us see. If you do privatization agenda now, it is going to TMC who is going to get the advantage, and you can understand that already it is said that on 7th July we'll protest, we'll do this, and this is TMC who is not going to get the advantage. They are not in a state of advantaging, but the problem is that the political consensus of the people will get try to get distracted, and this should not be allowed. I mean, it is not only Bengal's work to protest against privatization, it is the whole India's work to protest against privatization. Therefore, you can understand what the politics is going on behind this, what is the understanding negotiation behind this. Therefore, kindly just hold the matter. Rail is not in that situation that it is drowning and sinking. It is quite in its own way. So please do not go into these things, because when you go on track on surface track on surface privatization, you have to go for track below surface privatization, and that is the more difficult issue in security concerns, because any blast may affect the whole upper side getting crushed into. So please do not go into privatization at this moment of time. Please look into the factor that why cannot be the profit, whatever amount, be earned, be retained, and as accumulated profit for carry forward purpose. That is the go through the past history. If I can sit here and tell you this, I haven't done any research on this work from the past. The knowledge I have accumulated, I'm saying this. So why cannot you have the data that this year so much of the profit, so much was paid out on accident, this year that year, like that, you have the data, sir. You can get it in a matter of clicks, sir. So you can do the analysis and please proceed this way. This is what is most important, that rail should has to earn little bit of profit at least, and that little bit of profit has to be kept and accumulated and transferred for the next year. Like that, fund will grow, and things will happen. So, therefore, transportation backbone is the railway. It can never be compromised to be out of the concern, administration, and holding of the Indian government through state governments and regional governments. This can never be ever be compromised. Compromising on privatization issue of rail means compromising on security aspect, on the total backbone infrastructure of transportation, of people, of freight, of products, producers, and intercommunication matters. So neither part of railway can ever be compromised for privatization, be it long distance or short distance like passenger trains or freight trains. What can be compromised or not, that is a separate issue. If I am allowed to speak on that, I may put my points to my voice. I may present it to the in a paper, properly confidential confidence, and totally confidential closed door confidence. So I can put it forward. I have also a little bit of knowledge, maybe totally absurd or very much thought provocative or very much useful, but that's a separate issue. Totally closed door and confidential conference I can take if I'm allowed to be officially do, which can be done as per your orders or circular through your governmental including power. But sir, for the time being, please do not give any chance for any political party to issue a political agenda based on railway, on whatever grounds or reason. This is not the time to declare whether it is going to be privatized or not, because rail is not in that much some. So please, kindly, my golden angle prayer, I beg you, sir, stop privatization at the moment. It is not going to affect Indian economy in whatever manner. Please do not privatize, because when you privatize rail, it will be said that the BJP has been purposefully shutting down business just to privatize rail, and privatization of rail can never ever happen to be good for any aspect anything in Indian economy and Indian transport and Indian communication also, sir. You just give it a thought and please compare any country in the world on the grounds that water supply, electricity, and railway, not other means of transport, and railway have ever been privatized or not. And the effect of privatization of railway, I'm not talking about bus, I'm not talking about ship, I'm not talking about plane, but I'm talking about railway. If damaging, I mean, permanently damaging, it will crush India to the ruins and never get out other aspects. If you please have any other options, your deal has other options. I live up advertise that these are the good part of the country. It is that's exactly the most strategic department. That departments of government is classified under certain instances. The modern government management system that is being trying to be developed by certain researchers on that use categorize governmental departments like earning revenues more, not revenue, earning more on this issue. So effect. Then another strategy, non-strategy, under is another level, Oriental things like that. Skill level, unskilled maybe categories of ecology, education, classification of the same governmental composition. Departmental that is the latest studies that technique going on, but it is not because government is to be governed by educational and government officials. Therefore, it has wiped out this was done by the UK. This is something I forgot the name. Their way of classifying like the journal public and how what we done is very back in the years 2006 back on that at that point of time, you understand one thing that if you categorize classify department based on strategy on defense, that is protection from invasion of army or armaments, or mass killing or things like that. So that is army defense. Then protection of internal evil and enforcement and implementation of law and order, proper most proper aspect quality is police force. For that police force, you need sometimes some RPF like that, rapid force like that. Okay, a little more active, not army, but in between the thing. So this is the structure of different. Yes. What is security force? Army fighting. So who is going to secure the borders? Police carries for the civil. Army for civilian string. So it's going to be important for protect the border. This is the BSF of the border force. So everything is strategy on the part of our protection. On the part of our protection of bad implementation, RPF through railway, the RPF. Transportation can happen 3-4 meters. That is on surface transportation, road or whatever road. Then the track surface communication, and then comes the water surface communication, and the air surface communication. Nowadays, digital communication has come. So these are the five elements of communication. The most cheapest and the most widely and the most important and the most strategic investment of internal defense strategy law and order strategy investment of financial and economic infrastructure is railway in surface. Then in case of water transport, the ships and harbors are there. but that is mostly of inter-country, intercontinental, inter-country communication than intra-country communication. So intra-country, within the country communication, railway is the most important and vital issue. And no one can compromise on privatization of rail. So in case it needed or not, I mean that's a separate thing. God bless that this is not needed, but that is at the whole country has to take up. And this at this point of time, it is just a tool to be given to the PMC so that they can create uploadment, protest, and instead just after the lockdown period, when people are going to get out, during this period, nobody could do any social like meeting or any political meeting. Now they are just going out there, almost they are free from the jail, so they want to do something mixed with people. And now it's the time that masking will be withdrawn, and now it's the time that TMC is going to do shavas, that is gatherings on the ground, that no privatization of rail, and that the economy of the whole Bengal is falling down. It is almost collapsing. That is going to be kept in the old house, old room. And instead, no center very well, center very well. Therefore, we need to go to the center. This is what the aim is of the TMC. I just had a clipping and I understood. So please keep these things totally forgotten for this year. Let us see what happens. Otherwise, it may happen that people will blame BJP that you have purposefully done this lockdown, etc. And therefore, because epidemic are not of political boundaries, so then for the purpose of selling rail, this will be the complaint agitation against your party itself, and you can never get up because no country, as far as my knowledge, has rail or on track surface on surface track, that is rail this thing privatized. Japan went for monorail, and the other country I forgot, maybe Japan itself also that bullet train also. Everything is under the hook and look of the government. Government cannot withdraw hand and say, I don't know about police administration, I don't know BSF, I don't know defense, I don't know railway. You can never do this. Finance, you can never do this. This is a strategic issue. So railway can never be privatized. Just do not give any option for any political party to fight against rail, because what will happen is that ultimately railway cannot be privatized. So there will be an understanding and settlement that some people have to be given work in the rail for this department, for that department, and people will be employed in the rail where certain political parties, maybe TMC, supposed to be, because they are the most who is to cheer up, and these people will get service in the rail. And you can understand the quality of professionalism in the Bengal TMC people, youth. They are not concerned why the youth leader is slapped. No protest, nothing. When they're speaking of Mamata Banerjee as Agni Konna, fire woman, and that Abhishek is slapped, and Mamata Banerjee has no concern for his nephew also. Why he is slapped? Slap. What can I do? But if there is a comic, satiring, insulting or satiring, not insulting, then that person is dragged in. Although being a intellectual person, is dragged into and kept in the custody of the police. Why did you satire against Mamata Banerjee? So everybody has to hail Mamata Banerjee. Wow, what a thing. But she is not concerned with her nephew itself. How can she confront with the country? And the youths are not concerned when the youth leader is slapped, and the youths are not protesting on their own itself when he gets into car topples out. Why? Bengal was not that. You can see that cinema, that is most probably we have 36 Chowdhury Lane, when an Anglo-Indian was sacked by an Anglo-Indian boss because of certain issues which was not found to be proper by a Bengali. She stepped down from the job and took a job elsewhere as a protest. Most probably in 36 only, I forgot name. It was the English cinema. This is what people are of Bengal are. Now they are not concerned about the youth leader. And all in all, Mamata Banerjee is not concerned about their nephew also. No investigation, nothing. I have complained to the Waqf board on certain issues of certain Muslim personals like Samir of Fancy Market, this Bobby Hakim, and certain others. That's in my blog. You can go through it. I've been putting it in the threads section. Part A. Just now. But you have to understand that it is not there. It is, don't get fooled, sir. BJP is going to lose the most. And in my opinion, BJP has served in the freedom fighting of the country to a little extent also, if not a greater extent. Like Sama Prasad Mukherjee's thing I told you about Bengal not getting out of India. BJP has a little bit of patriotism, but this TMC has nothing in it. It has no concern. It shows to be a patriotism. It is a hypocrisy, total hypocrisy, lie, and deceiving and cheating. All acts are trickery for TMC. When Mamata Banerjee is not concerned with her nephew itself. So how much concern has he got for the people? How much concern has he got for the youth to rule in industry and get it done here after shooing off Tata? Tata, that was the first industrialist to snatch away industry from British by intellectual means, and therefore starting the development of self-dependent, that is, you say na, Atmanirbhar India, the self-dependent India in terms of industry was first by Jamshedji Tata. Go to the history, sir. Then contradict me with proofs. After that, this is this. And that is the when the Britishers got the main push and sprang up patriotism. And we went for Swaraj, free India, and we went for Indian goods. ভারতীয় পণ্য বা অন্য কোনো পণ্য বর্জ্য করবে, and this. So as a patriotic political party, BJP and that member, Mr. Piyush Goyal, sir, Railway Minister, I think it will be better for you to just stop the matter of railway being privatized. Nothing, do nothing, please. Let TMC run on their own. They're already gone. So please let them stay on their own. They want to protest, please say the matter is not now finalized. Please take your don't put up this issue. Put whatever issue, don't put up this issue. The matter is not finalized and it is not going to be finalized at the very soonest. We have more years to for this our 5-year reign. So you have election. That is why you are creating such turbulences, such problems. Please don't use these things. Railway is a strategic thing. The main matter of TMC, I am telling you, sir, they almost tried to put into the government as government every almost 60% of the population. I'm sorry, but this is what the newspaper on the first page said, commented when Mamata said that so much will be employed in KMC and these things, this government, as government, that government. And both labor unions of leftists as well as TMC labor union himself protested against this. And it was the time just when this Molada, now in law ministry, left, or just after this left, whatever, ওই ওনার ছাড়ার সময়তে এই ঘটনাটা ঘটেছে। TMC union protested this, and it is TMC union and left union totally jointly still holding up any type of recruitment. And you can understand from my past records what type of concern Bobby Hakim has for his own religion itself, apart from the country, and that he has so many placards that I'm going to recruit. If you go through this coaching center, you can get recruited in WBCS as WBCS. And in the TMC reign, this Tomojit and Kartik Chakraborty, Kartik Chandra Rai are there. Nirupam, things are there. So please, sir, do not allow to get in any these things. Every patriot is behind you. I am not saying that Congress will support you, BJP will play front to support you. No, I'm not going to get into that. But I do plead to you to eradicate Naxalites, which are in the name of RSS. And if in the party, being in the party more than me, you can understand what RSS has hold over BJP in an invisible manner or not. That is, I'm not going to say in public. And whether BJP is trying to strive off to shake off RSS invisible hands or not, that is, I don't, you yourself knows better than me. But rail can never be privatized on solid grounds. Electricity can be privatized on the grounds of production distribution. It is not that much a strategic issue, but a strategic issue. Everything is strategic issue. But railway is the strategic issue for transport and a security aspect also. But electricity is not that much security aspect. Electricity can be monopolistic and privatized, but rail in a country has never been privatized as far as my knowledge goes. If I am wrong, please show me the proof. Railway, police force, these things can never be privatized on whatever grounds. So the point of railway should not be just dragging in fund from the financial department, but it should be seen that railway should earn profit, and it is already earning little bit as far as I can, as I hope. I don't know the picture, the financial statements, but main thing is that retention of the profit, thereby stopping forever any outflow of fund due to whims of one type double decker train and things like that. But technology without proper understanding, proper cooperation, communication, interaction, please do not go for any type of spending in large amount. Number one. Number two is that in case of unprecedented, uncontrollable, unforeseen circumstances on which to pay the penalty, accumulated profit goes off, then in that case, it is to be seen that why it is happening. Not just an investigation report. Oh, this, he was falsing. He just fell out. He just fainted. That is why he could not give signal. But instead, the whole chain has to be punished if this happens. I don't know what is going to. I need that there will be no accident. Means zero tolerance against accident. Nothing else. Zero tolerance against theft. No other compromise. On security aspects, sir, subsurface track transport can never be compromised from government holdings. You can sell shares, but then, I mean, the financial aspect may be very difficult to control in later in case that you cannot accumulate profit and rather carry forward the accumulate profit. So the first and foremost aim is to see. I mean, like it is like pinching an ant to get out from its mouth the sugar it has eaten. মানে পিঁপড়ের পেটটা টিপে ওর মুখ থেকে যে গুড়টা খেয়েছে বার করে নেব, এই টাইপের একটা ক্রুর অ্যাটিটিউড দরকার to accumulate and retain the accumulated profit. Then only everything will stop. Please don't give any chance to TMCs. They're Naxalites. And just breaking one Naxalite to propagate or prosper or to shatter them will help the whole India by itself. And these Naxalites or RSS, whatever you say, and therefore BJP, whatever you say, but Congress would breaking also be not that, whatever you say. So it is not a matter of political negotiation. It is a matter of negotiation for implementing that. You came to my Shaba, you got job in rail. I gave you job. You supported me, I will give you bhata. So like that, cannot be done, right? You can understand, sir. Thank you so much.